Hello. In April 2018 I left for a trip for 2 weeks and I was back in May 2018. Wanted to drop you a note about it, so I created an animation which gives you the riddle or the puzzle, what is happening with this channel, because this channel was kind of sleeping. That's what I showed you. It's basically a very simple animation, and I used two renderings, one done with this camera and the other one with this camera. This camera renders a colorful scene, and you can see it right here. It has a shader which is sort of blue and brown. And the other camera, which I cannot show you now because I forgot where I saved it, saved the settings for that camera, it shows a totally black and white structure. Both of them use the Toon shader. You see that when you get close to the whole object, you see it very nicely, and here you have that checkerboard, which is somewhere in the texturing settings, but here you have the lines which show you that you have a Toon shader at work, or here, which is just a reflection which is harsher here, so it gets darker here. That's the Arnold aiToon shader at work. The destruction of that geometry, which I wanted to make in order to make it a little bit more interesting, to find out what my message was. Of course, this is visible now, back mid-May 2018, or even further here when the whole geometry is being cleaned up. You see, that's the cleanup process towards the end of the animation. Back mid-May, the letters there are still distorted, and here I clean them up, so everything's visible now, even from the side. But that's only visible briefly in that simulation. The most parts I showed you this destructed type font. It's a simple type font, which with the letters here, I used it with the type tool here, the type font tool. It's a type mesh, as it's called, and I distorted it by extruding faces, and the face extrusion sits here, and if you change the offset, for example, from 0.1 to 2, you get this structure. So it's a very sensitive parameter here. But I didn't use that a lot. I'm using the proSets plugin, which you don't have to use for things like these, but the proSets eases the process of making the geometry distorted more drastically. I do this with a percentage value here. This is a very nice parameter here, which it's a major parameter anyway in the proSets plugin, and the modulus is used briefly here, I think around that section of the animation. Yeah, right here. So I just wanted to, and that goes with the music. I wanted to change it drastically in this part of the animation before everything is getting cleaned up. The shader is a Toon shader, as I said before. Material attributes, here you have the Toon shader, which is currently working with a blue, a circular ramp showing blue and brown. Here is the rim lighting. Actually, it's not a circular ramp, it's a U ramp here, which shows that brownish tint. If I change this, for example, to blue, it looks like this. But the other color here in the, let me see, which is the light blue, we can change this to, say, green in order to see it working differently. Now you get a very colorful setting. It's the rim light is a typical effect of Toon shading. But it's not very obvious here because the geometry is so complex. And I wanted to show it to you in order to inspire you to create something as beautiful and complex as this. Computer animations don't always have to make sense. They can be art and beautiful as well. Well, have a nice day.